You know, even our phone systems and stuff, we're going to have to kind of look at different messaging systems that we have here, because it sure seems like people will respond back to that. They'll text you back, and they won't even answer the phone if you call on the phone. But you text them, they'll send you a text back.
You know, and I never use my home phone number either. I always use my cell phone, because if I get a call on there, I answer it or not answer it.
Okay. So those are just some options, but I just hear from me from the very top. I want you guys to be safe. Please use wisdom, and you know, if you want to do that and text back, hey, that's fine. But if you'd like to leave the church number, that's totally appropriate. Okay.
Karen. Just to go along with what you say, I used to, going back about 8 years ago, TBN has a prayer chain, and they would transfer the calls into my home, and I did that for a couple years on a Sunday night, and I would get this one gentleman, and he just wanted to hear my voice. And I called him down at TBN, and I said, but they can stalk you. He was stalking me. He was starting to ask personal questions. She said, you know what, this is a prayer chain, but she said, you know what, just tell him, sir, this is for people that are hurting and need prayer. And I did, and I just kept hanging up when he called. Yeah. And he did not give up right away. So there's
a good illustration. What we're doing is we're doing ministry. There's the need, whatever the reason you're calling to talk about that. You know, there's a fine line when you start opening up and start saying personal things. When you're first talking to someone, because you want to be personable, you know, but you do not have to give out zero personal information. All you're calling is a representation from the church, and you're just wanting to give them information about whatever they might have checked off. If they didn't check anything, all you're really doing is saying, just, you know, you'll see a sample call or whatever, but, you know, did you like the service? Did you enjoy the service? It's very short. It's very sweet. You know, you can't be, I don't know how this is. You can't be everybody's friend as a chaplain, because you're going to be making tons of calls, and you just can't do that. We need to be there as chaplains to minister, but you can't be everybody's, you know, friend. Especially, you might get a guy that you're calling versus a girl. We don't. That they just go out. So in that regards, when we're saying minister up front, you know, I gave you a very cut and dry way how to do that when we're talking about the prayer things. You very possibly will get a guy to call or a girl to call if it's because we don't even really look at that, because, you know, just look around the room right now. How many guys do we have in here? Yeah, how many girls we have?
Is it okay if I get a guy and he gets a girl and we switch?
You can switch. Well, you're a couple, so that's totally cool, but no one really has, that's not afforded to everybody else. But I guess what I'm saying is we don't look at that. It's just when it comes in, they see who's on that week and the cards, and then she just emails them out. She doesn't look gender or whatever. But those are things that I'm instructing you guys way up front to be very careful for, so that our longevity and the experience we have, and know that they need someone in an authoritative place to be able to set boundaries if you get someone who's you know, stepping over those boundaries. Okay?
I've even had people call the office if I can't answer their question or their concern or it's beyond my knowledge. I can refer them back to the office, and then they send them to Pastor Charlie or wherever they need to send them. Or Pastor
and that's
Michelle.
In regards if it was a counseling situation or something like that. So
that happened to me in healing prayer, and he was so pleased and blessed from healing prayer. But in healing prayer, we're never alone. It was a team, and he saw me the following week as a greeter, and he came in. He invited me for lunch. I said no, thank you. The following week, he came back into healing prayer. I got him again. He invited me for lunch. I said, no, thank you. The following week, it went on for months and months and months and months, and I was getting very angry. So I didn't know how to handle it. I gave him to Mark. Mark and Cindy, I said, Dad, I don't go to lunch. And he said, if you don't go to lunch, how about dinner?
Oh, no.
It was so persistent.
So here's what is okay to do, folks. When something like that happens, number one, it's inappropriate for him to ask you to go to dinner anyway. He doesn't know you for nothing. And you guys are at that leadership position where people can get an emotional type or whatever, I don't know, your voice, your face, I don't know, whatever, or they're just plain weird, okay? Let's just call it what it is. And there are weird people out there. And they're hurting people that come to church, and they need help. But from the very first time, if someone says anything appropriate, you stop it right then. I mean, immediately. Don't let it go. You're like, well, he just kind of... No, because if they're that bold right then, all it does is it just gets bolder and bolder and bolder. So, just you were being very nice to him, which is good, but But as we come up in leaders, and especially when you're praying for people, when they're praying for people, there's a spiritual connection that happens. That's why we have to be so careful, man, man, woman, woman, or you've got a team like Irene did, and we talked about a team, okay? So it doesn't mean that a guy can't ever pray for a girl, but you want to have a lady with you when you're doing that. That's just, folks, we have to do that. You know, you might see Pastor Greg, man, you might even see me by myself praying with someone but that's more the exception than the rule. When we're trained in 40, 50 different chaplains, we've got to have a set deal, or someone might run into a problem, and we're just trying to do safety for everybody. And we're trying to do like a protocol thing so that when other people see what we're doing in the church, they can see, oh, they have teams, oh, they have a husband and wife, or oh, they're always doing it with 2 versus 1. And what it does is it shows kind of what the training is, and it becomes a safe place. Because there's just horror stories, and we don't have to go over all of them, that have happened during ministry, and it usually happens. It starts off innocently, and then it goes on for a while, and then it turns into something that just can turn south. And the thing is, as leaders, you know, you don't realize this, but as leaders, a lot of people look up to you. So when something happens to you, it's not just happening to you, it can affect a lot of people. Like when something happens to the senior pastor, associate pastor, whatever, when someone in a high level position, something goes on, it affects a whole lot of people and it causes unrest in the body. So all we're trying to do is make this thing as safe as we can, and we follow these protocols. I think it'll work, and it keeps it safe, you know, for you. So you guys have my permission. If someone says something like that, they invite you to lunch, you know, I say, no, I don't do that. Please don't ask me that again. It's okay to say, please don't ask me that again, okay? And I know that's kind of rough or whatever, but the thing is, as bold as someone is, as bold as a spirit is, you have to realize and understand. We battle not against flesh and blood, true? So even though it might be a guy or a gal that's looking there and it seems very innocent, I'm telling you, as bold as that thing is, it's okay to be that bold. That may be nice bold, but it's still able to say, no, please don't ask me that again. That would shut that down. And then if it happens again, then run it up the ladder the next time.
I gave it to Mark.
Perfect. That's perfect how we do that. So, okay.
Okay, we've covered most of the page. Did everybody understand about when this card gets turned into the office, then all the calls are made from the office, and you will get this in an email. And it will show. And when you get this, then you're to call the person within 72 hours.
Hopefully what that would be, folks, is usually every Monday, unless something's wrong, Mary sends these things out by about 10 in the morning. Mary French or Marge or whoever might be doing that. So usually by 10 o'clock, it should hit your email. So if we could have them turned back in by Thursday, hopefully you can make the call that night. You just know, hey, this is going to be my week, and we'll talk about that next week. But this is when I'm going to be on, so I'm going to be getting calls. Hopefully you can make it that night, I hope. And that way you can just turn it back in. Because what we like to do, I don't know if we'll ever get to this point, but what we like to do is that person actually get the call the same day. And we used to make copies in that's right after church, and we'd actually hand those things out right after church. That was just that was rough. So anyway,
we're 3 years ago.
I know. So we're going this way to where we can kind of, you know, be a little bit more techy, get it out. It doesn't take. It's a lot easier to do, and hopefully it'll be easier for you guys. And I need, as soon as it starts coming to you guys, if you can't receive it right and it's not working right, your computer's maybe a little bit older, you can't open it. I've got all kinds of scenarios where that's happened. I just need to know what we'll do is we'll change you guys to where, as opposed to we're sending you a PDF, we'll just put it in your box. Right. And the chaplain box, and you can just grab it out of the chaplain box, okay? No. Hope this is not confusing. We're giving you a lot of information here. But
and those of you that don't have email, just look in your box. Okay. It'll be there. Yeah,
the card will be in there. Michelle?
That's probably, and we're supposed to type out or write out what the conversation was.
Yeah, so here's what you should be able to do. Whenever that card comes in, you can actually just have that card right up on the screen, you know, type of thing. You can see the information that's on there.
This is an old one.
Okay. Now, Suzanne brought this back in where she just wrote down the bottom, but you should be able to type right back on there and just hit send. And what happens is when it comes back in, I click on it, look at it, and I can see what people have.
So is it coming from your email or from Mary or Marcus?
Mary sends me a copy of it.
Okay.
So actually I'm like copied to it, so when that thing comes back, it comes to me.
All right.
Here's what needs to happen. We've done this for the last couple of years. I actually need a team, which we don't have. I need a team that just reviews these PDF files. I cannot do that. I just can't do it. So, because here's what happens. Ever since I've been over this, yeah, we go back to Shirley, but Shirley's got enough stuff going. I need to get a hold of the team. But here's probably, if we have a black hole, so to speak, at Skyway, I would say this is it. Every single person that gets saved gets a letter and they get a phone call. Every single person that visits gets a phone call and they get a letter. And we get all kinds of comments about people that visit. It's like, wow, I visit a lot of churches, you're the only ones that were called. So that's cool. But after that visit, after that phone call and after that letter with the visitors, nothing else happens. It's sitting out there in Never Land on files that every now and then Michelle says, Pastor Sam, are we going to look at these things? And we got 1,000 and some odd files to look at to either flush the system or whatever. Same thing on the salvation, which this is the biggest one to me is, you guys will make a call, you'll tell them about a SALT class, you'll tell them about a baptism class, they'll get a letter, but then there's no follow-up after that. And personally, I don't like that, but right this second, I don't have a team that can continue to follow up. We should have a new believers class. We don't. We have a SALT class that really can help new believers, but I would like to see a 12-week new believers class where just salvation, baptism, what do these things mean? What the heck did I just do? Type of thing. So anyway, I'm just making notes for myself, but I want to let you guys know, just so you know, as chaplains, what happens is a letter goes out to the guest and the salvation, and then we chaplains, we make a phone call to them, and then right then, that's really all that happens. Unless when they send back, they say, we are interested in women's ministry, we're into this and that. We send that card to the pastor that's over that area, and then they get in touch with them. So we do follow up that way. But after the salvation thing is done, they're just kind of sitting out there in limbo. So I'm not asking you to fix that. I'm just telling you what the scenario is and what we do and kind of where we're at, right now. And I would say I'm working on it. It's a line item, action item on a legal piece of paper sitting on my desk. So.
He's waiting for somebody to step out.
Volunteer.
Well, I'm sorry.
You want to step out?
Yes.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Yes.
And that it used to be part of my job too, to track the notes and stuff. Not everybody, there were like maybe out of 15 or 20 that one would be highlighted that it would be nice if somebody would just kind of stay on top of it, especially like if there was a death in the family and they just visited, or those are the kind. Most people don't share that much information when you call the first time,
right.
But if they're really hurting, those were the calls or those forms that I would kind of pull aside and say, they just need a little more TLC. And so I know a lot of your chaplains though would hold on, make a copy of that and hold on to that and touch base with them periodically.
Yeah, they would continue to
So just
follow up.
to, not like in a way that it's out of somebody's boundaries, but it's just in a way like 6 weeks later, hey, I remember you had shared with me that your mother had just passed. How are you doing? It was just that kind of thing.
Well,
So-
what we do now on some of these calls, just to let you guys know, we now have, Sharon and I have created a list that's called long-term care list, and what happens is,
Or any traumatic thing.
funerals, people that are in hospital, but if somebody dies here in the church, they get a phone call for a year from the church. And we just started doing this probably a few months back. I think we were in 6 months ago. So they'll get a call once a week, and I forget what the formula is, but they'll get a call once a week for X number of months. They'll get 2 calls, so they'll get 2 calls during the month, and then they'll get 1 call
For 4 months.
so it's like 6 months. The very end, they'll get a call, 1 call a month for 6 months. So I think it was 2 and 4 or
It's
something
like
like
2,
that.
4, and 6.
Okay, so
but
we do
would
follow
have to
up
let
on.
you guys know.
Yeah,
those
well,
kind of
whenever we
things.
know that there's like Vivi Hansen passed away, well, there's nobody here in the church, that type of thing, the son's in California, we won't do anything on that. But when we know that it's like if one of your relatives pass away or that's very close, you know, mom, dad, sister, you know, that type of thing. Or something was traumatic, like Sandra Arvizu's nephew overdosed on heroin, it's very traumatic, they're very close. Sandra still gets a call. You know, we'll put them on the list, and that will be some of the things you guys will see down the road when we do our visit slash phone calling day. Those will be some of the calls that you guys will get. You'll be calling people that have either just got out of the hospital, they've just had a heart attack or heart transplant, or they've had a loved one that's passed away. Those are some of the calls that you guys, you know, will be making. So we do follow up on
If
them.
they're, I know, but if they're like, but those are people that attend our church, so,
Correct.
but people that are new, if there's something that's highlighted when we're calling them, do we just let you and Shirley know?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe we
Yeah,
can.
because then what we'll do is we'll assign it to a chaplain, we'll put it on a list, you know, that type of thing, where we'll do follow-ups, and that's why.
Or we could even follow up on our own,
Well, and
right?
here's the thing though, if you guys start looking at the number of calls and the number of things that we have you guys doing, that's wonderful if you want to do that. I'm not asking you guys to do that.
Okay.
If you do that, and that's just what you want to do, because that's just your makeup, praise God, do that, you know, type of thing. But we'll give you quite a few different, throughout the month or whatever, you know, maybe you're on, you know, on the hospital thing, you're just on one day, you know, but now you're seeing here that you'll be getting a call to either call a visitor or a salvation thing. That's on you, whatever your week is, you'll get that. So that's just once a week, but you'll see that you'll start getting a few different things to be able to make calls and stuff like that. But
This is monthly though too, the salvation call?
yes, that's a monthly basis, yeah. So what we'll do next week, what I'll do is you know what, I didn't even ask you guys, I just assigned you a week, so you'll know. So next week you'll see what the list is, and so that you can write down, hey, this is my week. And if for some reason a week is bad, that week is bad, so I just took our names and just divided them by 4 is all I did here in the class. And it goes in with other chaplains that are there. It just gives Mary that much more flexibility, or who's ever copying. The more we have, the less number of calls you have to make. I mean, used to, people were making 4 calls, 5 calls on a weekly basis. And now it's down to, I think you're just getting 1, maybe 2, and that's why I put 1 or 2. So, you know, praise God, because we keep getting chaplains, we can spread the load out, and that way we're able to minister to so many more people and not kill us.
And sometimes you won't even get a call, so.
Yeah, very possible you won't, but we'll talk about that next week.
This is what that list looks like.
No, that's the
That's
for
the hospital.
The hospital visitation.
This is well, I go by this for my chaplain and
Yes,
call.
you know that you're going to, yeah, because on that day, we'll talk about that whenever we do the hospital visits. I'll show you that calendar, we'll assign you a calendar. I will ask you what day is the best day for you, because I know some people are doing internship and, you know, anyway, we'll look at you.
And pray about the day that you choose, because some people get really upset if the call is not made, like me. And sometimes I'll go and make that phone call, or I'll do on the visit, because people that don't follow through, then that person that you were supposed to go see, they don't get a call or they don't get a visit. So it's,
Yeah, we'll talk about the importance of that.
Yeah. I've been praying for the commitment.
Yolanda, thank you. I'll figure out and sit down and talk with you. And because the thing is, we want to, you know, it's good to have a leader, but the thing is, you got to have a team. If you're just one person and you're starting to make all these calls, that's just a remedy for burnout. So thank you, though, that's on your heart to keep following up on those. And I've got a couple other people that I know that are good team people, but not necessarily leaders. So I just needed someone who could, you know, be a leader over that, and we just kind of spread that out. And thank you. We'll work on that. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, Suzanne. I don't know where I left you.
I don't know. It's all good stuff, and we need to know all of it. Is there any question that anyone has on this list of 10 things to do? Yes.
It was mentioned about the children's nursery, ask them to go to the children's nursery. As a greeter, I've done that, and some people are reluctant to put their children in the nursery, so do we let it go? Just leave them in peace?
Just talk to, if someone's done that, then just talk to Sal or one of the ushers and let them work on that. We have a little card in the back that we actually hand to people. Did you know that? There's a little card in the back that says, hey, we're videotaping taping, we're live streaming, and, you know, please, if you could, take your baby to the baby comfort room.
I didn't know we were together.
Yeah, and that's more a greeter and an usher deal, not necessarily a chaplain deal, but I mean anybody that can help. And it always helps when a lady does it versus a guy. But you still get to people. Sherry's went up and talked to people, and they've left.
Yeah.
And they get offended, they get mad, and but the thing is, they bring the baby to the front row. But again, here's the deal. What we're doing is, as leaders, we're trying to make the sanctuary a place where there's not any distractions. And who gets distracted the most? I'll just tell you, is Pastor Greg. He gets distracted by, and that's just Pastor Greg. It's like, well, you know, you shouldn't be distracted. Well, okay, but he does. So we just need to know that it's distracting. So whatever reason or whatever his makeup is, it's very, very distracting. So it's very important to him when he sees an usher or a greeter or someone going to a baby, a person, you know, type of thing. And the deal is, I've even heard parents that have come here and have left tell the wife, don't take the baby up there because they're going to make you go to the baby comfort room. And the mom on purpose said, well, I'm going to go up there anyway. She premeditated that I'm going to bring the baby up to one of the front rows just to see if someone will say, I'm going to the comfort room. I mean, I had that conversation with them. And so the thing is, not everybody does that, but I mean, just someone just recently that was that way. And I asked Sherry, I said, Sherry, could you talk to that lady? She goes, okay. And then she goes, don't ever ask me to do that. Because what happened was the lady got really, really offended. She goes, I'm a visitor. This is my very first time. I can't believe. Now, I will tell you this. In some churches, they don't even let you bring the kids into the sanctuary.
That's true.
And it's just because of that reason. Pastor Greg, that is not Pastor Greg's heart, so you guys need to understand that. He's all about the families worshiping together. That is Pastor Greg's. But once he's done, and he used to do that, and he just forgets or whatever, gets tired of saying. But when we get done with the offering, stuff like that, he says, you can, you know, we dismiss our kids to the Super Kids Church, and you can take your kids to the baby comfort room. Well, how many parents with little babies actually get up and go?
Well, now they don't even dismiss.
I know, because the kids are gone. So
from the very beginning, yeah.
So anyway, we have that dynamic. That's really kind of more usher greeter thing. But I mean, if you do see someone, I just want to let you guys know that we do have little cards in the back. We do hand them to them. It's got a little baby stroller on, a little rattle, and it says we're live streaming.
Scoot your baby on out. That's what
yeah. Please take them to the baby comfort room. So anyway, that's just FYI and Irene for something like that. If they don't do that, just, you know.
As a greeter, I had to do that, but not on this part.
Thank you, because that's another rough gig to do.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
Yeah.
My baby will be there, but she's getting dedicated today, so
Okay.
I'm not.
Just
You're
don't
not
make
on the
her
front
cry.
row. I'll be in the third row.
That's only if they
So
cry.
here's the deal. What happens is if a family if the baby was just getting fussy, and then as soon as it's getting fussy the first time, because I'm gonna tell you what, as soon as they get fussy, they're gonna keep being fussy.
Oh yeah.
If they would get up and go, then that's okay, because the ushers kind of watch. As soon as the first you know, now they're like, oh geez, you know, so they're looking, where did it come from? And, you know, then if it happens a couple of times, but what happens is a lot of times parents that just don't know, they bounce the baby up and down, and, you know, you got people in front of you, people to the side, people behind, and it's extremely distracting. Some people don't care. Most people are like, please, will someone take care of this? And so for the sake of the congregation and the sake of our pastor, we have to ask people, would you please take the baby to the baby comfort room? And I guess from now until Jesus comes, some moms are going to get offended when we ask, but the thing is, we have to keep doing what we're doing unless we finally make a rule and just say, hey, we don't want to allow the babies to come in, and we just, right now, we just don't want to do that. Pastor Greg has never said that, and we just don't want to. Hopefully we never get that big to where we have to say that. But the thing is, it's rough on ushers and greeters, but the thing is, as leaders, we now have to do some things that kind of stretch us, take us out of our comfort zone. But what we're doing is, think about this, as opposed to thinking about yourself, oh no, I don't want to go to do this. No, what we're doing is we're doing it for the sake of the congregation. We're doing it for the sake of our pastor and for the Holy Spirit to just, you know, continue to move, so that people wouldn't be distracted. So.
You know.
That was free, that was not on your notes.
When you were saying that, I had the thought that if somebody comes in a church and they're that disrespectful, we don't want them anyway.
That's right,
Because they're not going to change.
that's right,
And they're just gonna bring division and chaos wherever they go.
that's right.
So it's probably a good thing that
So they just need training, they need help, a lot of them
some of them don't want.
don't have those backgrounds, some of them just flat no, you're absolutely right. But the thing is, you know, we still have to reach out, you still gotta give it your best shot, and, you know, I don't think people can say it's for lack of us not trying, because you gotta try, you have to give it a shot, and if they're gonna get offended, they are. And it's just rough on you. Thank God for Sal and those ushers and Deli and Don Schweitzer, all those guys that actually go and say something, because that is not an easy gig, because usually the baby's in the middle of the aisle, not on the end. You gotta pass the card down.
It must be under pretty good control, because I rarely hear babies interrupting service.
Well, you know, thank God, I think most people know, and you're right, and you know what I do? I really, almost every service, because, you know, that's just one of the areas that I'm over, so I'm a pastor over that area. And so they're not going to talk to those leaders, they're going to talk to the leader, which is me. So anytime I hear the baby, my anxiety level, I'm like, because the deal is, I'm not going to do it, but it's the people that's underneath me that I've trained, and I'm like, will they go do that? And so it's kind of a reflection on me not training, even though it's a very hard thing for, you know, ushers or greeters.
Now all of you will
to
be
able to
listening.
do.
So
Everybody will enter Pastor Sam's pain if they hear a baby.
In healing prayer, in healing prayer, there's been a couple of times that the parent has brought the baby, and the baby wants to play with the classroom toys, and I can't pray with the blocks and the blocks and the blocks. I really can't.
Okay.
So finally I would say, we're borrowing this class, those belong to the teacher, and they could say, oh, okay. But I told him he could, while we were praying for her, that the baby could pray for toys, so he came ready for toys, and they emptied the whole box. So I talked to Mark and I said, for me, Irene says no toys.
No, that's why we have to, that's why you have to set boundaries, otherwise whatever that person's, you know, MO is, whatever they do, that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, and the mom in between prayer would say, oh, how cute. Did you see what he made? And
Yeah.
So see, it's just, it's
Suzanne is nicer than me. She was
all right, so much for the baby room. Sorry.
Suzanne, did you tell them when they will be starting the phone calls?
at the end, the 10th.
Of November?
I don't have that paper.
It's on my notes from when we were meeting. I had the 7th,
November?
December.
Oh, December.
No, it'll be December.
Maybe it's December, but I thought it was the 7th.
Well, the 10th is a Monday.
Okay.
So
That's when they'll get their first.
yeah, so some of you that will tell you who next week, who will be on that week, but we'll start you guys off. Wait, I'm looking at November. So it's the 8th of December.
8?
That'll be the week. And that's, you guys are gonna fall right into some of the Christmas weeks, so, but anyway, that's just kinda what we do.
Should I assume that the calling times during the day would be business hours, which would be after 9 o'clock and before 8?
You know what, I've done mostly evening calls.
Okay.
Very few do I do day calls. It's
Okay.
most always evening. Now, my call last week, it was a man and his wife that was on the card, and the man's name was on the card.
Okay.
And I called his wife, I called the number,
Yes.
and I asked for him, and she said he's at work.
Okay.
And so I asked her the questions that I would have asked him. And she says, I don't have time to talk, I'm trying to get supper, and I'm helping the kids with the, so it wasn't a good time. So
That's
I
right.
just made it real brief, and put that on my notes, that he was at work, and that I talked to the wife. So my call was over and I had everything out and everything ready to go and ready for questions and.
The majority of the calls will be very, very, very short, because people are really,
Yeah.
really busy. And, I mean, you could try to call during the day, but I would say this, you know, call during the day. If you didn't get a call, then try the PM. If you didn't get the PM, you got answering machines both times. it's okay to leave a message. That's a contact.
Okay.
Because we're not telling you to keep the card and just hound them and keep waiting until you get a live body on the other end, because you may never, because
Stop calling
I
me.
can remember, yeah, exactly. I can remember a testimony where, I think it was Che's ministry, but anyway, they called this lady for a whole year and left a message
Oh my God.
on her answering machine, but they just did it once a month. But what happened was the lady was going through a divorce, the lady was going through a hard time, and all they did was saying, just calling to bless you, and they left a 1 or 2 sentence prayer. That's all they did. And when that lady finally came out of divorce, bankruptcy, was like all kinds of stuff she was going through, she called and said, I want to thank you so much. And I'm saying this because a phone message is a contact. They're going to hear it. They're going to listen to it. We got our point across. And the thing is, we want to help people that need help. If they don't call us back and they don't need help, we don't have to keep going after them. We just let them know, hey, we're here. I just want to let you know we're so thankful that you came, and God bless you. Hope you had a great experience. If you got any questions, please call the church at 623-935-4858. Have a great day, or and we got a little sample thing right here, but you'll make your own little type of thing. But I want you to know is, if you called in the AM, you didn't get them. You called in the PM, you got the answering machine again. Leave a message. That's your call. Left a message on answering machine. Blah blah blah.
Can we call just once and leave a message?
Yeah.
Okay, not try again? Okay.
No, the thing is, no, because what was happening is we were stacking. We tried that,
Okay.
and we just stacked those cards up. And what we found out, there were a few that we actually did make contact with, but the majority of them, they were all left messages. They did not. They weren't going to pick up their way.
Ever fictitious phone numbers or?
Yes, I've had that too.
Yeah. You'll get one, and if it doesn't work, just say, hey, wrong number. Just put on there, wrong number, send it back, and then we don't do nothing with it. And you guys will get a phone call the next time you guys come around. So your thing may be you go dial it and it doesn't work. And we've only a couple times, or a few times, we've sent these cards out and it doesn't even have a phone number on it. So that's our office's fault. She's copying cards, PDF them, sending them. And so I had a couple people say, hey, there's not a phone number. I go, well, there's sure not. So, of course, if there's not, you just write on there, no phone number, and you send it back.
But also, I think as you're having people fill out the cards, if you look at it while they're filling it out, or look at it before you turn it in, you'll see whether the phone number's there or not. And if it's not, you're still talking to them, ask them if they have a number.
Yeah, and that'll be on the salvation thing, which Suzanne will start talking about here in just a minute. The visitor thing, that just gets turned in, gets put in the offering plate. We don't see what's going on, but we're the ones that are helping them while they're filling out that card. They fill it out. We can look at it and just go over to make sure you can read their name and you can read their phone numbers, because 8s and 5s and 7s, and oh my gosh, you should see what Michelle has to do sometimes. And then the emails, type of thing. And the thing is, we don't help them by making them write like, Minnie Mouse, because it's so doggone small, type of thing. But those are things that we could help when you look at it. If you can read it, then it's going to scan okay, and eventually whatever chaplain's going to get it, would be able to read it. But that's just one thing. I'll just reiterate that. She'll go over that again. So.
Well, reading the cards is what's important, because then you know which one of your tools you need to pull out. Like if they have children, then I go to this so that I can tell them where it's at. Or I go, now, they don't have November's out yet. There was a mistake, Sal said. But it looks like this, and you probably picked it up. And it tells what's happening every night. Well, I can't come. When can I go to the salt class? I can't come on Sunday. It's on Wednesday. This will tell you, so this is helpful. I pick up every tool I can. If they need counseling and they're going on and on and on, then you've got this to tell them. If they're having problems or they have somebody that they want prayer for, you can send them to this. You can pray for them and then send them on Thursday night. So I just have as many tools as I can. Like Pastor Greg did a message not too long ago about what's in your tool belt, and these are my tools.
Did we copy you guys those when I gave at the very beginning? Do you guys have that in your books or no?
These are all of the kiosks.
Okay, you have those, right? I think.
Yeah, these are all.
What about the healing prayer and the lay counseling? Did we give you that brochure?
We've got that.
Okay. Okay.
'cause I have it.
We'll make copies of those in,
Yeah, I have it right
Do you have
I
it?
don't have
It's
it.
here.
It's here.
Lake Counseling.
Okay.
The lake counseling?
the Lake
Yeah,
Counseling and
it's
the
right
Healing
there.
Prayer.
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's right.
That's all you need, because that doesn't change. I mean, it's every Thursday, and then the fact that Pastor Lorraine has lake counseling help, and it's got a phone number, that's just the main thing. If someone said something, you'd have it right at your fingertips, so.
This is the best tool that I use.
I know.
Is this one, because it has all the classes and all the phone, not phone numbers, but class numbers.
Information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Vicki just told me right now, Vicki Worthy, that 617 is gonna be the membership class from here on out, because it keeps changing.
I
So-
think you just said the wrong number.
Oh,
I
what
think
is
it's
this right here?
615. Because I went back into the office 7 different times the other day, because I couldn't remember the room number. 615.
Is it 615?
It's the second one.
It's the
where it
second
is
one in
there.
the store, because I sent a lady to the wrong class this morning. I sent
okay.
her to the administrative building, because that membership class had been in there.
Yep. Mhm.
But this, it's now here and it's
Jackie?
not moving, right?
No, it's not moving.
So 615,
Mhm.
top
And
level.
that'll be the baptism class and the membership
Membership
class.
class.
And the membership class now for you guys, I know we're gonna reiterate these things, but it's a 4-week class now. Pastor Greg always says 3 weeks, because for 10 years, it was 3 weeks long, and then the last class, we did a baptism class. But Vicky's turned the membership class into a 4-week class. So it's every Sunday, 4 weeks in a row, 9 o'clock in the morning. And then what the baptism is the very first Sunday of every month at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock.
She does the baptism class. So, and we've got that down in written form someplace, but if somebody, especially if you're doing a salvation call, or a salvation thing, a membership class is a great place to send them. Salt is a great place to send them, and then the baptism class is a great thing for them to do. So those are things that you'd want to know at your fingertips right off the top of your head.
And
when
the
you're doing
salt class, you
salvation
can
one.
enter at any time, you don't have to wait.
Salt class,
Just
you can
jump
enter
in.
any single time,
Yeah.
yeah, they do have, the books are, they do them on a monthly thing, because there's 4 books, or 4 chapters per book. But yeah, you could go in the middle and then just come back and do it later. It's really best if they start first of the month with a book, and then they can just flow on through. They don't have to start with a series, because there's 7 books, but we just want people to get in a discipleship
Right.
class.
Yeah.
And as opposed to making them wait, then maybe they get out of habit, because the most part, especially salvation-wise, they don't have any discipline about going to a class or nothing like that. I mean, they don't even have a discipline about going to church.
Yeah.
That's a
So
good
whatever
one.
we can get them involved in as quick as we can, even if it's in the middle of something, that will get them in a routine to where they'll want to come to church, they'll want to get in class, and then they start building friends. That, to me, that's, relationship and responsibility. If we can get them building a relationship and give them something to do, they'll stick, So those are the 2 most important things, I think, so.
Does anybody have any questions about what to do? Is everybody comfortable with making phone calls?
Can I brag on you for a minute? Yeah.
Do tell.
Suzanne was, there was a sweet lady that went to our, so make me cry, but there was a sweet lady that went to our church that didn't have any family and was raising a grandson.
Yes.
And Suzanne was her widow, they hook up, chaplains with widows and stuff. Anyways, she took such good care of her. Her name was Carolyn, and just loved on her till the end.
Yes.
She was diagnosed with cancer.
That was an experience.
It was just, God bless you, Suzanne. It was just beautiful because she didn't have any family. Not that she didn't have family in Arizona, but, just Suzanne took such good care of her, even till the end. And
Yes.
Shirley was there the night she died. And it was so sweet that was a precious
You
time.
just, be obedient to what the Lord puts on your heart,
Mhm.
because that's what I did.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm gonna add. She combed her hair
Yeah.
the night that she passed. She combed her hair and got anointing oil and massaged her feet before she passed.
Uh-huh.
she was a sweet lady,
Yes.
and,
But it was sweet.
It was
It
an
blessed
experience.
me to hear
It was an
that.
experience. And that's what you'll get out of this class, is that you are gonna be that somebody special for someone. Somewhere down the road, somewhere, that one or two or three or half a dozen people will touch your heart, and it'll make you feel good.
Karen is already doing something special too, so, you know, I wanna brag on you. Because, you know, working or ministering to someone that has dementia or Alzheimer's, it's not easy. So, thank you. Thank you.
Well, we've got about 20 minutes left, so I will start with the salvation.
Suzanne, can you go, just real quickly, go over the little sample script?
Oh, I
You
don't
got
have
that
one
one?
of those. No.
Here's an extra one right here.
Oh, that's mine. Okay, let's
Or
look at this.
visitor, I'm sorry, visitor.
Okay.
Yeah, the visitor script. Just, we put this thing together because even though we say what to say, just so you guys have a really good idea, I'm sure you guys know what to do, but this is just a tool, it's just a guideline. You guys can add to it, subtract from it, whatever, but this is kind of pretty much how a thing will, how it will flow, how a little call will flow.
It would be good morning or good evening. My name is Chaplain Suzanne from Skyway. Just wanted to call and thank you for visiting this past Sunday or Wednesday night, because they have these handed out on Wednesday nights too, whenever there's a service. Just wanted to ask you, did you enjoy the service? And then whatever dialogue you have back and forth with them. Did you have any questions that you would like to ask about the church? And all these little tools that we've been talking about is what you would use so you would have an answer instead of, I don't know. You would be able to go back and refer it. And then it says, do you have any prayer needs? And I jot these down on my paper that has the call list that you get off your PDF. And I just make those little comments so that I can, and then whatever the prayer need is, I write that down. And I don't write down everything I said in the prayer, I just put prayer need, what it was, and then that I prayed. And sometimes people just overflow with everything. They want to tell you all their problems, and then some people are kind of quiet. You kind of have to, that's where the discernment of the Spirit comes in. You kind of have to know, you have to feel what to say to them, because they're quiet and they don't know. And kind of, for me, I put myself where they are. Because there was a time all of us were that person that came. The first person, when I started here at Skyway, I was we were at the old campus, and the first person that come and prayed with me was Ada.
Mm.
That's how long ago. And she's up in years, and she still does ministry, but not as much as she did then. But Ada was the first person that I connected with. Okay, it says leaving a message. And this is you're going to speak over the phone. You might, I guess you could text it if it gets to that, huh? Hi, my name's
So new, the text thing's new for me, so we don't have anything written down on whether you guys text or not.
Half a day to text all this.
Yes, it would.
No, yeah, I would say no.
Hi, this is Chaplain so-and-so. I'm sorry I missed talking with you. Just wanted to thank you so much for visiting this past Sunday. I hope your visit was enjoyable. Hope we see you next week if you have any questions, and then in the office number. So this helps if you pick up the phone and you go blank and you don't know what to say. You've got some kind of a little script, which is saving grace, I think.
And the more you do it, the easier it
Yeah,
becomes.
the easier it gets, you know.
You'll be able to write your own script after a few
And then
minutes.
put that little happy face smile into your voice, so that,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Always have a smile on your face because it comes across.
yeah. And I think the more prepared you are, the easier the call is, I think, so. Any other, can I go on over to the salvation now?
Sure.
Or do we have anything else? Does anybody have any questions over this? No? Piece of cake.
Do you ever get anybody that asks you questions doctrinally, or do they ever?
Sometimes, but I refer to this little book or to my I referred to in this little book, so I have all these in my folder, and so I can pull up and tell. There's another one, I think I left it at home, that tells what all the ministries are, what the foundation of the church is. And if you've been here a while, that's an easy question to answer, because you know why you're here and what you believe in, and it matches with what Pastor Greg teaches from the pulpit. So
For the most part, if they ask you a question and you don't know how to answer it, you can let them know, hey, I don't really know, let me find out and I'll get back to you. And what I'd like to do, as opposed to you guys shooting that back up to me to make all those follow-up calls, if it's somewhere you could get an answer that's not really rough for you, then it would help me if you got the answer from us or whoever, from Michelle, whatever, myself, and you called them back. But if it's a doctrinal thing and you're just not really sure, you're not comfortable, we'll take all those. But you can see if we got 40 chaplains, and if someone had a question every time somebody called and they shot it back up, then I'm juggling 40, trying to figure out 40 different things, as opposed to we spread the thing out and everybody just finds the answer and you call back. That's the easiest. But if it gets to a doctrinal type of thing and you're not really sure, then yeah, hey, we'll take care of it from there. But if it's just something, hey, I'm just not really sure, let me get back to you, and then you just call the office, find out what it is. And
I just asked that because we get those kind of questions all the time.
Well, and very possible that might happen, type of thing. Let me just ask you, I'll ask you the question. What do you do when you get those type of calls or you get those type of questions?
Well, depending on the question, a lot of the question mostly is about speaking in tongues. That seems to be or are you a spirit-filled church, or whatever lingo they're using, charismatic, or I say yes, we believe that the gifts are for today, that it's doctrinal, that we believe that, so I have a spiel too that I do answer the question. I just didn't know if possibly visitors ask those kind of questions too.
Very possible, and we can say again, yes, our core values, our beliefs, and that's in your little Skyway membership manual. It'll have the core values, and basically when they're talking about the spiritual gifts, you've got a little script, so to speak, or a little paragraph or so what Pastor Greg has written on that. But basically what it's saying is, yes, we believe that all the spiritual gifts are in operation today. You don't have to go a lot further than that, because some people like to argue. And one thing you never do, you never argue about the Bible. I mean, because they're convinced one way, and we know in our heart what we believe another way. And there's, they just ask the question, do you guys believe that? And the answer is, yes, we believe that all the gifts are in operation today, and all the gifts are used for the common good of others. That always remember that. It's not so you can say, oh, I'm spirit-filled. No, those gifts are used for the common good of others. That's what the gifts are for.
The question that is asked a lot is, what kind of church are you?
So what do you say?
Well, I say we're non-denominational.
Okay.
That's the answer on the telephone that I give. I don't say that we're associated with Cheon, all that kind of thing. I just say we're non-denominational, although our roots are Southern Baptist. I do let them.
But Pastor Greg's put out a booklet on who we are.
Who we are. Well, now we would probably answer that differently, but the other thing is then how do you go into an apostolic sense? You know what I mean? They want to know if you're a Christian church. So I say, yes, we're non-denominational. That's probably a wrong answer.
No, you know what? That's not a bad answer, because to try to, like you said, to try to explain apostolic reformation and that word apostolic center, because immediately when people think apostolic, they're thinking even more of a black culture church, because that's more of a black culture word, kind of, because it's not really, it's starting to get more across the board where they're getting more understanding about that. And for the most part, when they're asking, people have a certain thing. When you say vineyard, or you say Baptist, or you say charismatic, or you say Pentecostal, they're already going to put you in a box in what they've already kind of thought. So saying it's non-denominational spirit-filled church, there's really nothing wrong with that. Then when they want to go further, well, then they can talk to the pastor, or they can go to the membership class. We'll explain what the apostolos is and what the apostolic ministry means, and those type of things. But to do that on the phone, that's a rough deal. Those you can shoot back up the ladder, okay, and we'll take care of.
Funny thing with saying apostolic is associated with the black church traditionally. being, the black church would never teach the apostolic, like I've never heard that teaching
Okay.
in life. So like what they believe apostolic is I don't know what.
Exactly.
But they,
Something
they come
totally
out of the
different.
Baptist though, it's,
Yeah,
the black
I agree
churches.
with what she's saying.
Like-
When we don't, I mean,
They don't even
apostolic is like taboo to me almost. When we hear it, it's like either Baptist, Kojic, and that's basically it on the black.
If you
Oh,
say you're
okay.
apostolic,
It's
it's
black.
just saying you're apostolic. There's no teaching to go with what a true apostolic ministry should look like.
Right.
So I don't.
But they use the verbiage or the
Yeah,
title,
yeah.
title apostle.
Exactly. And they'll
So-
say we're an apostolic church, but they don't have any teaching to back it or explain
What that is.
what it
actually
is.
means. Yeah.
Pastor Sam, Pastor Betty says, in the black church, Sister Irene, everybody's an apostle. And I go, okay, because I met 10.
Bishop is
I met
also.
10 of them as I went to visit her church, and wow.
Which, you know what, hey, it's a culture thing,
Yes.
you know what, that's okay. But for us, just doing what we're doing right here to understand that, you know, non-denominational, you know, spirit-filled church.
You're Baptist?
No. See, I was not brought up Baptist, I couldn't say we're coming out of the Baptist, because
Well,
I,
we're-
so don't ask me anything about it.
Years ago, because, you know, we were, you know, since 1967, I mean, we're loosely affiliated with the Baptist Church. We're really, or Southern Baptist really, but I don't ever say that, you know, we're a Baptist church. Now, if people ask, I would say, well, I remember Skyway Baptist. Those kind of conversations have happened too, because, you know, we were on Ocotillo, and we were a Baptist church then.
I would have to say they were Baptist way back in the day.
Yeah, 'cause when you say Baptist and they come in and visit.
We're
what
not
we do
Baptist
now-
church. But we weren't even really a Baptist church in the 90s, even when we were a Baptist
Yeah.
church, so,
No, absolutely.
you know. But we still are affiliated with the Estrella Baptist Association. It's,
Yeah,
but
we
very
never jumped
loose.
out of there, so they do have us in there. But some of the best descriptions, like when you're doing those phone conversations, is your membership manual. That's, the core values, that's a good thing for you to kind of get in your heart. Worship, prayer, the Bible,
Yes.
fellowship, the authority of the believer. Those are some of the things, usually when you know those things, those are usually the things that people will ask and they're gonna answer, you know, all those questions. Suzanne, there's no reason for us to go at 5 minutes. That's just,
Okay. We'll have a cup of coffee, huh?
yeah. Yeah, a cup of coffee, greet people, love on people, and we'll get back up next week. You're doing that. Thank you, you did a great job. That was wonderful. All right, everybody, be blessed.